Hmm. Yep. Yep. Oh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, that's a penis. Hey, welcome to Prop Culture, your look into the world of replica prop and costume making. I'm your host, Bill Duran, and today I would like to tell you about my airbrush. I get a lot of people asking me, hey Bill, what airbrush should I buy? And hey, how do I use an airbrush? Well, I'll tell you what, I've got one right here. I'll tell you all about it. So I have probably the cheapest airbrush that money can buy. I got it with, I have an air tank, an air compressor down here. The whole thing came together for like 65 bucks with a tank and a whole bunch of accessories, including this airbrush. Now it's not fantastic, but it was my first airbrush, and I figured get something cheap and sort of learn on it, and then eventually get something better. So maybe someday I'll upgrade from this guy right here, but so far it has treated me very well. Usually an airbrush is used for adding sort of gradient detail to your work. A good example would be this mask right here. The original, before I put in some of the detail lines, looked a little too sharp, and when I went in with the airbrush, I was able to soften a bunch of those edges and give it a little more depth. The way that works is I've got a little bottle here. I got a couple of them. These are used for, you pour paint in here. You hook it up to this old airbrush thing here, and the air, shoots a bunch of paint out. That's basically it. It's not really high tech. It's been around for a very long time, and that's how it works. You can control the flow of how much paint goes in and out, not in, just out. And you can also control the PSI on the tank. So however much air it's shooting out, you've got that kind of control. And then you hit this button. You can't really see, but there is paint shooting out of there. And you use that to apply to your stuff. The paints that I use in my airbrush are usually these little guys here that I get from the hobby store. These are just little enamel paints, and they come in really, really cool sort of colors and a whole bunch of different varieties. For bigger things like white and black, I get these enamels from the hardware store, and these are crazy cheap right there. These enamel paints need to be thinned before they go into your airbrush, so you want to grab a little bit of enamel paint thinner, and you mix that in with your paints before you spray. I also really like using the airbrush for using metallizer lacquers. These guys here, for adding a metallic sheen to the thing that you're working on. Usually it's more of a coverage thing and not really a fine detail thing. But I've done things like the mace from the Risty Mace and Shield build with this kind of paint. And it comes in a whole bunch of different colors like exhaust and stainless steel or gunmetal. And I've used those paints especially on one of my new projects, my replica space pistol. So this guy got, I think, a gunmetal color and an exhaust color. Once you spray it on, you just let that lacquer dry for about 10 minutes, and then you just buff it with a paper cloth, and it really pulls out that metallic shine that plays really nicely in the light. That also comes with its own little sealer that you want to use instead of, let's say, a rattle can clear coat. So that's about it. I've got my new project coming up with that space pistol, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions or if you have any insight that you want to share about your airbrushing experiences, make sure you leave a comment below. If you want to see more of my videos, go ahead and subscribe, which is also below. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's twitter.com/chinbeard. And if you're a Facebook person, facebook.com/punishedprops. Check this out. Removable battery.